welcome in everybody to the Fly for Fun show, October 23rd, show 22 of 2024. And Ray, by the way I calculate, now I got my shoes off under here and got my socks off, got my toes and fingers, but this is the way I count it. This is our 230th show.
I know, man. Time is flying by, really. I can't believe we've been doing it that long.
Congratulations to our viewers. They're the one that make it. And listen, this show was always about the viewers, and we welcome you in so much, and we appreciate it. Of course, we go every other week now, so that number is growing a little slower now. But hey, we do have fun, and it's a privilege to be here on Wednesdays or every other Wednesday. Ray does his show on every Thursday, but hey, it's fun, and we really enjoy it. And tonight we got a great guest. We'll get Casey SEALOCK in here. And Ray, I think you had Casey on before, but
he was on my show. He's going to be a great guest. No doubt about it.
I have a lot of questions, and the drone shows are more and more popular, and Casey's going to catch us up on all of that. I do want to wish we got some birthdays, Ray. Lawson, my grandson, turned 9-year-old this week. Amber, my daughter, can't say how old she turned, but anyway, happy birthday. April Beasing, Lee's wife, happy birthday. Allison Blade, and Jeff Norman's got a birthday coming up in the next few days. Doing the show every 2 weeks, might be a little bit ahead. I think his is sometime early in November. I want to wish
happy birthday, everybody.
Get well to Warren Akarasho. He's still having a little health issues, but
he's been lurking though lately. Which
is
good.
Yeah. Hey, and I do want to say I got some text and over this last few days. Scotty Jackrabbit's been out a little bit. He's kind of been off the grid. He's got some stuff going on just with the house, and he's been very busy. A lot of hurricane stuff. So he's fine. He appreciates it, and not that I'm speaking for him, but I did talk to him a few seconds, and anyway, he's fine. He's going to stay off the grid a little bit, so he's doing good. No problems. What else we got? Of course, we got the new drone guide out, and guys, I'll get it to you. And tonight we will be giving away. I got a Fly for Fun mouse pad, and we'll give away an SD card, 128 gig. We'll do that as one prize, and we got a great sticker pack tonight. So we'll do two prizes. I want to thank Connecticut Pirate John. John is a big supporter, and he sent a gift card there, and we use it to ship. We do a lot of shipping every week. We give away some prizes, and we're always giving away stuff, so we appreciate that. But hey, I had a great day today. Went out with Captain Joe and John, another guy that's been flying with us, John April, and hey, flew the Air 3. I flew the new Air 3S. Joe had the Air 2S. John had the Mini 4 Pro. So yeah, we did
You look like you had a lot of fun. You look like you were having a great time there.
We had a great time. The weather's been it's been amazing. For I think 4 weeks ago tonight we had the hurricane, the one that came through here, and it hadn't rained since, and it's been in very mild. Humidity's been very low, so it's been fun. Been a great time to fly. Well, Ray, let's I know you've been busy. What you got going on? And we'll get Casey in here because I know he's busy. So we want to get him in.
I'm just getting ready. I'm getting my yard and everything ready. I haven't done too much drone flying. I set the drone up in the backyard. That was about it, and seeing if there was any color changes in my neighborhood here. But it really hasn't peaked up here yet. But I hope to get the drone up this weekend, get some fall foliage colors, and But before you know it, I'll be heading south. I'll be heading down to Florida. So
I'm telling you, Ray. That's. It seems like I know. God, just seems like you just left, but you'll be going back over there and hanging out with Al and Bill Renane and Maddie and TJ and all the guys there. So your buddy that flies, what's his name?
Steve Barnett. Can't forget him. Yeah.
But it's.
But I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Well, let's say hello to some people, and then we'll get Casey in here.
Yeah, I tell you, the show wouldn't be a success without our viewers, really, and we appreciate it, guys. We really do. Angel, he was number 1 today. Good to see you, Angel, drone guy, 42 Adventures, and Rob Kamada, who was right behind him, number 2. How you doing, Rob? Philip Koshat's watching, and we got Randy, Mad Props Media. How you doing, Randy? Good to see you.
Randy.
And I tell you, I don't want to miss anybody. Jeremy's watching out in Nevada. How you doing, Jeremy? Some drone guy. Steven Drones, good to see you. And we got John Flynn watching, Flying Flynn Media. How you doing, John? And Ron Johnson, RJ Aerials. How you doing, Ron?
Ron.
And Jerry Bowers watching up in Canada. How you
Yeah,
doing, Jerry?
Jerry's
He's,
got that
he's
new.
another
He's got that new
snowbird.
Air 3S. Yeah,
He'll be set. Yeah, he went out. Yeah, they got it right in their Best Buys up there, right?
they
Yeah,
did.
so
Yeah,
all the best with it, Jerry.
I'm laughing at
And we
Mr.
got a,
Rob.
a drone superstar watching. DeMarco, FSU grad 03. How you doing, DeMarco?
Ray, look what your buddy. Look what Mr. Kamada's got to write. You know, he's got to do.
Well, Johnny, that's Rob. That's Rob for you. Let's see who else. I don't want to skip anybody. Brian, Waypoint, New England. How you doing? Good to see you. And Mike Kelly. How you doing? Copper State. Good to see you. And another drone superstar, Idaho quadcopter. Marcus is watching. How you doing, Marcus?
Yeah,
Good to
Marcus has been doing some flying with that new drone. I'm sure.
I know.
You
I
know,
was
hey
wondering
Ray,
if he was going to show up for the show, Marcus. He
Ray,
was out
did
there
you see?
flying that Air 3S today.
Did you see his latest video? He yelled at me on in a video.
Oh, okay. I'll have to definitely watch that one. Yeah.
Yeah,
And did I skip Randy? Mad props. How you
man,
doing, Randy?
props.
Good to see you. And
Brian,
James Baraka, how you doing? Good to see you. And I know it takes time to do this, but we appreciate it, guys. We'd like to acknowledge the viewers, and we really appreciate you taking the time out to watch our show. So,
yeah, let's get Ray. I'll let you introduce Mr. Casey here.
well, I'll tell you, Casey SEALOCK, he's one of the drone show superstars, we'll call him. He's
He's laughing.
been on my show, my show in the past, and he was on Old Farts with Drones. And I tell you, he really is amazing. And I know you're going to find him very interesting. But I think he's coming to us from Florida now. I'm not sure.
Casey?
Hey, Casey.
Absolutely am. I say it hit real close to home when you said the storm was 4 weeks ago. I'm down here in Orlando now.
Right.
Still travel quite a bit for work, but bouncing back and forth. So thankfully, by the time it got to us, it had calmed down a bit and really didn't have too many issues. Sat here and rode it out and just dealt with some wind and a little bit of weather. So we're good.
I tell you, it's been a hell of a year for storms, and I know even it's I'm glad it's over. It looks like it's over, and so hey, yeah, we'll go to next. Absolutely. We don't have to worry about it till next June or July. So Casey, I've never had you on, but I appreciate you coming in. I know. Tell us a little bit about what you do and how you kind of got started in this industry, because it's I would say it's still a very new industry, although it's growing every day. So catch us up a little bit. Did Casey freeze?
Oh, he froze? You froze? Okay. He might have froze. He'll come back.
So honestly, I'm lucky people that had a hobby that turned into a passion, and I was able to turn it into a career. I look at it every day. I get to, fly drones and play with flying robots, and not everybody's that lucky. So, started out with little toys and got into building all my own stuff back before the Phantom 1 even existed. Kind of developed through that. So been flying for about 15 years, starting with the hobby stuff, some fixed wing stuff, multi-rotor stuff, all that. And then 2016, when the Part 107 came out, I was one of the first people in the country that wasn't a full-scale pilot to get their Part 107. Everybody laughs because when you trade in your card or when you move address and get a new address, it actually resets the date to when you got the new card.
Oh, really?
And so my card actually says August 29th, 2016, and I don't want to give it up.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things. And I've been lucky enough. I mean, it's real interesting to me. You got folks that start out in the industry and they're doing video, they're doing photo, or you got guys that go hardcore into, the mapping and surveying and get into that. The drones are awesome tools for that. And I've been lucky enough to kind of bounce around the industry over the past decade. Started out working in a drone retail shop in Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay.
Ended up going to work for BNSF Railroad and doing a lot of mapping and surveying and processes on their railroad and with their drone team.
Yeah.
Ended up going to Amazon after that and working on Amazon drone delivery. After that was doing transmission and power line work, and then ended up in Corpus Christi, Texas, where I was working with one of the FAA testing facilities down there. And then in between, continue to fly my hobby stuff for fun. Everybody laughs with the kids that I work with now. After the testing center, got into the drone light show work. And again, it's all networking. So a friend that I used to work with at another job called me up one day and said, "Hey, we need some people to come work on this project. Are you interested?" And I got literally a 1099 form, filled it out, said, "Sure, I'll come play around for a little bit." And that was the start of my entrance to drone light shows. I've since worked for a couple companies within the industry. And for the last 2 years, I've been with Sky Elements, and we are just absolutely going gangbusters. And I, as we talked about on your show before, sir, half the time I've got to stick a Post-it note on the mirror of the hotel just to know what city I'm in that morning, because I can't remember. I'm here now. I got back 2 days ago. We did 4 days in Cincinnati, where we were at the Blink Festival, which is this huge light festival. And so we flew the drones over the river, and we did a total of 10 400 drone shows in 4 days.
Wow. And congratulations on taking third in America's Got Talent. Yeah, AGT. That was great.
It's been a wild ride this year.
Casey, let me ask you, and if anybody got any questions, go ahead. Casey, what is those drones? Tell us a little bit about those drones, that actually do the show. What type of drone is it? Approximate cost. How many is it? And
so there's a lot that goes into that. It's a big question, honestly. It is a custom drone. They're designed specifically for drone light shows. So we don't have cameras on them. We don't have any additional sensors that we don't need. We don't have anything else at all. People always ask me, it's like, well, what if I just got like one or two to fly? And I said, I fly FPV drones in full acro with no balance, no stabilization. I'm putting them upside down, all sorts of stuff. But flying these things with a hand controller, no thanks. They're really bad at that. But man, you hook them up to the system that we use, which uses multiple computers and a ground station and all sorts of other equipment, and we're able to put these amazing images in the sky. Being that they are so specialized and niche, they tend to be pretty expensive. For drone light show drones, you can go anywhere from about $2,000 to $5,000, depending on company, brand, model, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
There are a lot of there are several companies out there developing drones in this space. Although we were just having this conversation the other day over dinner, there hasn't been a big push lately for like a newer drone. The stuff that's out there is working really well for what's going on.
Okay.
But the drones that we're flying, we've been flying for about 3 years. And other than, some software upgrades and maybe a couple hardware tweaks here and there, they've been workhorses, and we've just been, plowing through it. Everything you see from the local shows we fly out wherever we're at, all the way to the America's Got Talent show, we're flown with the same drones we've been flying for 3 years. Right. So now, a lot of maintenance, a lot of upkeep, a lot of logistics.
Are those 100% American made, or is that somebody?
They are not 100% American made. We do work with a couple companies outside. And there's, the big thing right now is even looking, into the blue list without getting into too much politics, going to the American drones, you're looking at 8 to 10 times the cost for about half the capability. So
quality. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Well, just to let you know, Casey, we got a fellow, Rob Kamada, in the chat. He's done a couple of drone shows with Sky Elements here in New York. Yeah.
Cool. Absolutely. Very sure. I say I haven't been lucky enough to bounce up to most of the New York shows. I've done a couple of our shows over in New Jersey, over near the Weehawken area and stuff like that. But I end up being a whole lot down south and a whole lot out west, not so much up north. Casey, it's nicer. Cincinnati was cool for the temperature.
Casey, are the drone shows the new fireworks, or is that totally separate, or is it a competition as you see it, or where does that kind of sit?
Honestly, to add to that, it's a combination. I don't think it's a competition. I don't think it's a replacement. We have been able to augment some really cool shows. There are enough people around the world doing drone light shows that there is even a competition from some of the folks that do like the software we use to control and some of the drones that we use to
is that
put together.
Interesting.
And we actually won an award 2 years ago for the best combination of fireworks and drones, and that was for one of our shows for the Major League Soccer team there in Dallas, FC Dallas. And we did this amazing show where we put up their logo, we put up, a whole bunch of different animations, and there were fireworks launching off of the stadium and all of that together. It was really, really neat. And now we've gotten to the point where this year, we as Sky Elements, we were the first company legally allowed to put fireworks on drones by the FAA. Now there's 2 or 3 others that are actually up there and running. But we have got there's some footage floating around that you may be able to find on a YouTube short. We actually set another world record for the largest number of drones using fireworks at the same time. It's this giant.
Casey, I'm just letting this run in the background, and you go ahead. This was absolutely America's Got Talent.
Yep. And this was one of our, most coordinated shows that was put together. It was based on some things that had gone on within our Sky Elements family. Our boss Preston and his wife had lost a baby, and
I know
they kind of translated that into this story, and
that was amazing.
It was very emotional.
It very much was, and it was amazing to see the outpouring of support from the crowd and the judges and all that. We were really proud to be able to put that up in the air and allow everybody to share in that emotion. So. But yeah, we've been going through. So I don't think that it's a replacement. We have had situations where, especially out in California, where they're having a lot of drought and things along those lines, where all of a sudden they'll call us up and say, "Hey, we were going to do fireworks for 4th of July, but we literally can't. So can you do a drone show?" We're much safer than fireworks in that instance. That we're about 99.9% not going to start a fire out there. And so it's worked out really well, but especially now with the combination of the fireworks and the drones, there's a lot out there. Don't get me wrong. I'm a red-blooded American. I love things that go boom, bang, pop, and watching the sizzle and the spark and the feeling of that concussion. But being able to add that to
oh my god, yeah, it is.
Oh yeah, I mean,
image is just
you got the best of both right there.
Exactly.
Yeah, very, very nice.
So Casey, how do y'all practice the shows? I mean, is it done at 2 or 3 in the morning, or is it a daylight? I mean, how do y'all? Yeah, I mean,
some of that's trade secrets, but I can tell you a lot of that. The majority of our work for these shows, myself as a field operations guy out there, putting it up in the sky and making it work, I couldn't do any of what I do without what the guys on the animation and design crew do. Okay. They put together that show, and it's run through simulations and testing and all sorts of stuff to figure out, speeds. If a move from here to there is too fast and would cause a problem, whether or not, it fits within the show box that we've got with the altitude that we've been approved to, whether it's 400 or we got a waiver to go higher. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff that goes into that. And then at the end of the day, when they hand it out to myself and the other pilots out in the field, we're making that work based on what they've got. For certain situations, sure, there's testing. For a lot of stuff, if we've run through it multiple times or we're comfortable with what's going on, it may be, trusting the design process that we're saying, okay, this is good. Everything looks smooth. There's no radical anything going on here. We're going to fly this show.
You got a question there. Yeah. I don't know if you can. Does that
how many drones failed? We don't talk about that, Mr. Pittman. Yeah. Just kidding. Honestly, statistically, it's amazing. So as a perfect example, this show that we just did in Cincinnati, we did 400 drones 4 times a night for 4 nights. So that's 4,000 flights. We had 2 drones out of 4,000 dropped into the river. So, and it was all within one show. So I have a feeling there was some, environmental situation, because we had a big temperature drop at one point and some other things. But I mean, statistically, out of 4,000 to have 2 not work in the show, that's pretty impressive.
Casey, what's the average length of a show? I mean, how many minutes are?
For safety's sake, because obviously our biggest limitation in general is battery life.
Sure.
I mean, I'd fly a drone forever, and run with it. But batteries, they do tend to bog us down. So for safety's sake and just the attention span of the audience, the normal show is anywhere from about 10 to 12 minutes.
Okay.
We've played around with some secret sauce that has allowed us to do 20-minute shows or more. Our crowning achievement in that area is we actually ran an hour-long show that was a countdown timer, and we ran it in Austin, Texas, over the city. Didn't tell anybody what it was, and everybody was kind of freaking out and having questions, and news stations were coming out and asking us about it, and we're saying, I'm sorry, we can't tell you what it is. Ran through an entire hour. People were coming out of bars and just like crowding around and watching the timer go down. At the end of it, it went out and it popped up a QR code, and everybody whips out their phones. Of course, everybody in Austin going, "Oh man, it's for South by Southwest. It's for a movie premiere. It's for this." They pulled out the QR code and scanned it, and it went to the Rick Astley song "Never Gonna Give You Up."
Oh wow!
And it was really just a prank from us, basically the internet Rickroll to the city of Austin, and we got a big kick out of it, and they weren't quite as amused as we were, but it was worth the time.
Well, the designs, they're incredible, really. I don't. You almost have like an artistic designer, or how does that come about? How do you come up with the idea for these designs? I know it's the client.
We've got a massive, we got a really large team that is just creative and design for us, and depending on the show, depending on how fast it's got to get done, these guys will work on it. They'll tag team it. They'll have one person work on it, just all sorts of stuff. But in working with clients, when we're setting up a show, there's a very long process of, what is your image? What do you want to convey? What is your event? What do you want it to look like? And kind of going back to the fireworks thing, we've got the advantage of, okay, rather than 20 minutes of boom, pop, fizz, what is your logo? What color do you want it to be? Right. What do you want it to turn into? What do you want to talk about after? What else do you want to share? And in a 12-minute show or so, you've got probably between 7 and 9 or 10 images that you can show, because we've also got to track in that transition from this image to that image and how the drones move and whether we add colors and things like that. A real good example, if you want to find it, just of the artistic side of things, that Blink show that we just flew in Cincinnati, and it would be under Blink 2024 on YouTube. I've seen a bunch of videos popping up over it. It was very, rather than advertising or logos or things like that, it was almost exclusively just artwork and geometric shapes and the eye that is the logo of Blink in different formations and movements. And it was just really, really neat. A lot of fun, and listening to the crowd just gasp and ooh and ah is fantastic.
Well, I tell you, I got to my first drone show. There was one about a mile from my house here in Shoreham, and I was so impressed with it. Really, it was for the Tesla Science Center Expo in Shoreham, New York, and it was incredible. I was so tempted to send up my drone, but then I said, no, I'm not even gonna go anywhere near it.
Sure. Well, there's a couple things there. Like we go through with that when we run those shows, just, the people's reactions and other drones, we're constantly searching. We've got a whole team of visual observers. We got all that that's watching around. And we're calling out, we call them non-cooperatives just because mostly they haven't talked to us. We don't know what they're doing. Most people have figured out pretty quick that the closer you get, the less of the show you see.
You don't see it.
They tend to stay back and get that whole image. And most of the time we're flying in Class G airspace. So you're more than welcome to be there. We just prefer you don't interfere with the show. I think we did a Christmas show about 2 years ago, and we counted 14 non-cooperatives flying around our show, just like that, filming the whole thing. Yeah.
I would call them renegades myself.
There you go.
So, it's so interesting, really. I find this so interesting, Casey.
Yes, sir.
Let's see. I actually going to try to pull this Blink. Let's see here. I think I can get it.
Hey, we got Alan, Drone Views Media, watching from Ireland. How you doing, Alan?
Right here.
Here we go. So this is from 2 years ago at Blink, and
Oh, okay.
obviously that's me right there. So yeah, that was 2022. This festival is every 2 years. So this was last year's show. Also, still just an amazing show. We had such a blast doing it, and just so much going on. You see a little bit with the computers there in the system, and this is actually launch.
Do they take off from a pod, or is that individual drones, or do?
This model actually takes off individually. We are we're making what we call a grid for that launch and takeoff, to where they are tracked from the minute they take off to the minute they land, and the accuracy on these things is crazy. And in order to be able to stay this close to each other in the sky, they've got to have that kind of accuracy. And then when they come back into land at the end of it, they're landing normally within about 6 inches to a foot of where they took off of. So pretty intense, considering the lack of sensors they would have compared to a DJI style drone.
Yeah, people are loving it, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Oh, look at it. Look at this. Really.
Blink. And then that was the company that actually helped, they were one of the sponsors for the event. So they got their logo.
How many shows do you have? A lot of shows because of weather or wind? Do they get put off, or is that something?
That's a very good question. And actually, it's funny. I had this conversation actually with my mother not too long ago. We were talking with some of their friends, and they were talking about, bragging on their kids and what we do. And I happened to be sitting there, and they brought it up. And she said, I couldn't believe how many shows you guys fly in a year and how few get affected by weather. Wind is always a consideration for sure. Rain is a problem. We have gotten to the point where with our crews, we have figured out just rapid responses, honestly, to weather coming in, whether it's getting tents up and drones covered up and out of the weather, or being able to hold off and get them out in the field quick enough to fly after a rainstorm. But honestly, I can only think in the 2 years that I've been with Sky Elements, out of my shows, and I'm flying a couple times a week most of the time,
right.
I think I've only had 2 to 3 shows that were not that we had to call, and mostly it was for wind. The wind was too high.
Wind, sure. Okay.
Yep. Oh, I saw this. I was digging through these. I want to see it came up, and this one was interesting. Guy's definitely filming with a camera phone. He's a little jittery.
Yeah, I see that. I just pulled it up, so I didn't.
Yeah, there's a bunch out there. But yeah, I mean, it was a gorgeous show, and just the colors and the design. And the neat thing is, our designer who put this show together with some of the artists and some of their ideas, he lives in that town as well. So it was kind of cool for him to be able to put his artwork on display up in the air over the city.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. I tell you what, it's amazing to see those shows. I know that. I've never seen one in person, and I think
that's a crime. That's
I think that y'all done one at the casino in Baton Rouge, was it? I think.
Yes, sir. I've flown, when they redid the River Queen, I flew that one.
Oh, okay.
And we've done it. We've done a couple others. There's a park, and the name escapes me, but it's right up the river from there. We've flown 2 or 3 drone shows from the park up there. So yes, sir. I'll be sure to notify you next time we got one.
Absolutely, yeah. I know Captain Ray, I think if we can get Ray to sponsor one at the South Florida Drone Meetup,
Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm on it.
Casey, I don't know if you can discuss, I mean, in price, can you just give us a ballpark? I mean, or is it strictly by the number of drones, the minutes, or is that just...
There are a lot of factors that go into it. I mean, the logistics of getting the equipment there, the number of drones involved, the complexity of the show. So that can always run around. But I mean, you're talking several $1,000s starting on a low end to a large amount of money. We've done shows for everything from, television. We worked with, I spent some time out at Skinwalker Ranch, the History Channel TV show. Yeah. We've done stuff out for corporate events, for private events. It really boils down to, is the money available for it, or what can we make happen? We've done some charity projects too, which I'm very proud of, that, the company is excited about working with people and figuring things out like that, and getting the company name out and allowing, you know, some people to see it. Because I, just like you're saying, you know, Captain Ray and yourself, as we look at this, and a lot of times we'll run into people and even clients, we show up for the show and we start talking about what's going to happen and how it's going to go. Right. And they're like, I know. I've seen them on YouTube. I've seen them on Instagram. I understand. And after the show, they're just running up to the ground. It was amazing. Right. It's
that's
so
what happens, right?
bigger and so much. And you're just going, trying to tell you.
So Casey, do they get to see it animated on computer first, or is that something they do to customer? Or I mean,
yes, sir. So we'll normally do what we call previs or a render of what the show is going to look like.
Right.
And that way the client can get a good idea of it. And honestly, you see all the videos that come out of our company. We've got our own basically media division that films and flies FPV through them and all sorts of stuff. The guys have to be able to see that before the show to understand, okay, when this moves here, I've got to be there. And if we're going to be around this direction, I mean, we don't want a close-up shot with a Cine 3 to be so close that when the image whips around, it knocks the Cine out of the sky or right. anything like that. So there's a lot of coordination and imagery. And then you'll see a lot. There have been a handful of videos that have kind of gone viral. I remember there was one with like horses running across over top of a horse track. There's one of a giant skeleton next to the Burj Khalifa and just moving over the crowd. And I was like, oh, it's so cool. And what you can do with drones, those were all renders. If you watch them, you can tell they move too fast to be actual drones moving in the sky. And the imagery is little too sharp. We can do some amazing things, but sometimes it's way tied in there. The other one that people send to me all the time is the one, there's an image of buildings that have burned down, like historical buildings, and they build out of drone lights, what the building would have looked like before it burned down. I hate to say it, it's a render. It looks really cool. It's a neat idea. It's not real.
Casey, what's the least amount of drones would be effective? And of course, I mean, I know, you know, I mean, do you need more than 100, a couple hundred, or?
It really boils down to a couple things. Really, it's what you're trying to accomplish with the mission. We have done shows with as few as like 6 or 8 drones, and really that was just to figure out what a certain area would look like, or what the window of a larger drone show would encompass, just to kind of measure that out. But then we've done shows. We have some like boilerplate Christmas shows that we run for smaller cities, anywhere from 100 to 160 drones. But if you want to start doing like the real large 3-dimensional images, you're looking at probably 250 to 300 drones to make that really work, because there's a lot of different resolutions that go into that. So same thing as if you're using a printer. If you've got a 160 dot per inch printer and a 360 dot per inch printer, the images with the 360 are going to look that more filled in and solid. So you can look at some of the smaller shows we've done for Christmas and things like that. And then you can look at like our Deadpool and Wolverine show that we did in San Diego for Comic-Con. And that was 2,400 drones in one show.
Wow. Yeah.
So far, to my knowledge, as the largest drone light show in the U.S., not in the world. We're still fighting that one, but I mean that was huge, and the imagery and the texture and just the shape of Deadpool's head and the way that Wolverine moved and then how they interacted together, because you had that many more drones and that much more motion and action, it looked more like watching an animated comic.
All right, so tell me about the battery charger. How do you charge 2,400 batteries or so? I mean,
about the same way you charge 2,400 batteries.
Is the electric meter just sitting there spinning?
It's about to fly right off the wheel and across the yard. But yes, sir. I mean, it is what it is. Batteries in general across the drone industry have been the bane of our existence. Right. So we can do a lot of cool things. There's only so much you can do, and you hit that tipping point, whether it's a light show drone, an FPV drone, a camera drone, or what have you. You can strap more drones to it, but you hit that point where there's so much weight that it doesn't counter the lift or anything like that, and you kind of get into it. So Casey, as part of our logistics, we have people who do nothing but charge drones for us.
I'm about to say, and what's the life of those batteries? I mean, is it do you get I mean, is it 100 charges, 50 charges, or?
So without going too deep into it, we do have to set limits and say, you know, hey, this battery at a certain point, we determine that even though you may still be able to charge it, you may still be able to fly it, for safety's sake, which is our primary concern, we're not putting that back in the air. So it does swap back and forth, and depending on we've looked and tried about every battery out there, and there are different chemical configurations and different, you know, wire gauges and all that sort of stuff to find that best option, and it is an ongoing fight.
Casey, let me ask you this: do they all take off at the same time, and do they all land at the same time, or is it a procedure?
It depends on the show.
Right.
It depends on the show. So depending on how much space we have, we can expand out, and if the drones are far enough apart, then we can take everything off at once. In a lot of cases, we're flying from areas where we can't. And so we've got to come up with some pretty creative ways to stage and stagger the takeoff of all the drones to make them work. And that's part of why in a lot of the shows that you see, there will be multiple layers in a cube at the beginning that then moves out and spreads out. When they come back, they all go back into that shape. So that's just part of that process.
So when that drone is not part of the show, it's not lit up at all, of course. I mean,
correct.
So it's all programmed in that one computer system, right? Is it one program that runs all of that?
So we're running multiple computers with multiple softwares, and a lot of them monitor different things. And I tell this to everyone, and the kids I work with all laugh because they hear it about 80 times a day. But it's not like flying a single drone where you've got a controller and you're moving. I get kids all the time run up to us like, "How do you do it?" I'm like, all 10 fingers and toes and each one of my beard hairs, and we're controlling everything. That's how it works. But it runs off the computer, and then the pilot, myself and my other pilots within the company, we're running through, and it's honestly kind of like being in the Matrix. You've got screens of numbers and charts and everything scrolling past you, and you're watching for very specific things, whether it's anomalies or similarities or what have you, and tracking radio frequencies, battery levels, GPS headings, and on and on and on, and it all runs through. But it literally does take the whole crew to make it work.
There's one remote pilot in command, though. Is that?
Yes, sir. That's all that's required.
That's gotcha. So what about the
whole lot of visual observers?
What about the permitting and I mean, you have to go through, of course. Tell us a little bit about the rules and regulations. In a normal city where you don't, I guess, have problems.
Sure. Well, even the problem cities, I mean, there are ways around certain things. And like you said, it's all down to permitting, whether that is clearing some of the issues with 107 that don't allow for swarm flights, or if it's flying in a city like up in New York, where they're very anti-drone, but they're slowly moving into it, and you've got to get the right permits and processes. You go down to South Florida, and then on top of that, you've got local ordinances, just like you do with regular drones, where if you're filming for commercial or what have you, you have to get a permit from the city and the film board, like all this different kind of stuff. And so yet again, we've got a department that handles that, because if you got somebody focusing too much on one thing or trying to do too many things all at once, you're going to drop things behind. So we've got a very robust team with the company. We're growing by leaps and bounds all the time. And we've got folks who literally their job is to track that stuff down.
Gotcha.
A lot of times the aviation stuff, they'll reach out to myself and some of the other pilots and say, "Hey, how does this work?" Or, we've got a client that's worried about how this goes. Or are you going to notify anybody? And we have to say, "Oh yeah, we file NOTAMs. We talk to the local FSDOs. Everyone knows that we're there. We don't just pop up and magically do something. Somebody knows where we're going to be and how many drones we're going to be flying at any given time."
Right. All right. What about Orlando, Disney World? Have there been drone shows at Disney World? Or no? Yes. I think Casey is frozen.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there are drone shows there now. At least at one of the parks, anyway.
Yeah, that's what because I think Casey Casey,
you're back. There we go. Got you back. Okay. Yeah, both of you guys dropped out, and then I went. For Orlando, Disney has run a couple shows, and they are actually, from what I understand, their show was just for the summer. and they're working with a company on that. But yeah.
Okay, so it's a total.
But they do have a no fly zone there. So,
Right.
but it is the only privately issued no fly zone in the country, and they've talked a couple times about taking it down, and apparently there wasn't enough interest or conversation within that discussion for them to actually take the move to do it. So it remains up. It popped up as part of a reaction to the national airspace after 9/11.
Yeah. And people.
Well, I'll tell you, drone shows are becoming more and more popular. I mean, it seems like that they're really expanding throughout the country.
Absolutely. And we've been very surprised at how seasonal and geographic it is. And it's real interesting because a lot of times we'll have a year where in the spring we're doing shows all down south in Florida, Georgia, Alabama, all that kind of stuff. And then it kind of slowly creeps across the country to where in fall we're doing shows out in California or up north and that sort of thing, back and forth. And sometimes it really seems, I almost think it's kind of the whole idea of FOMO, fear of missing out, where we'll do a show somewhere that we've never been before. So we'll do the show there, and after the show, within the next couple months, we've got 3 more shows within an hour of there because somebody saw it and said, we got to have one of those in our town.
Hey, Casey, how many companies, I mean, are there a lot popping up, or is it pretty much still, I mean, is that something new?
There are some out there. We are definitely the most prolific as far as I've seen. The number of shows we do is amazing. I think last Friday night we had 9 drone shows going on across the country in one night. And last 4th of July, we had 21 drone shows across the country on 4th of July night.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And we are, last I heard, we had a meeting recently. We are on schedule to break 700 shows in a year by the end of this year.
That's good.
We're busy.
Yeah.
But there are a handful of other companies out there, many of whom we know, many of whom we've worked with, many of whom we've communicated with. And there's some friendly rivalry out there. And that's one of the reasons I think that we stand out there and do as much as we can. We're very big on social media. We do a whole lot with YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and all that kind of stuff. It's part of our marketing.
What do you fly for fun? Do you ever fly for fun?
Oh,
do you get
absolutely. As much as I can.
FPV primarily, right? FPV
mostly FPV. I'm currently working on a couple projects. I must have at least 50 FPV drones in the room back here. This is a Team Black Sheep hat. So, I mean, I'm my clothes, my drones, everybody laughs. My Instagram, YouTube, all that is eat, sleep, drone, repeat, because that's literally what I do.
Wow.
I've got a little 3-inch propeller Synolog FPV drone that I carry with me almost every show I go to. It was great in Cincinnati, kind of surfing along the river and then up past the bridge and down and kind of orbited a couple boats, and all the kids were jumping up and waving. So it was a lot of fun. But I also, like I said, I've been doing RC stuff since I was a little kid, and then got into the flying stuff mostly about 15 years ago. So right now I've got 3 different fixed wing airplanes that I'm making semi-autonomous, but also has FPV on it. I've got a little RC Rover truck that I'm doing the same with. I'll literally be able to hook it up to a computer and say, go here, go there, follow this path, and it'll just take off and come back and do what I need. And some of those are projects for moving on to bigger projects, but it's all tinkering and having fun with the robotics.
Well, I tell you what, you gotta. I hate to say it. It's I'm sure maybe it's a job, but it's a fun job. I mean, some jobs can be fun, some jobs cannot. But hey, man, that's incredible. And I know just in the few years that I've been in it, man, the drone shows and it's only gonna get larger. I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I had to go fly a show in Hawaii about a month ago. It was,
oh my God.
It was terrible.
That work.
Oh, that work.
We just thought a collection for him, Ray. I know.
I know. I'm telling you.
We did 300 drones in Hawaii, and I got a day off to run around the island and fly FPV. So yeah, I mean, the adage is true. Find something you love and you'll never work another day in your life. So
exactly,
it works that way. It's fantastic. And through all the industries that I've been in, that's what's kind of interesting here with the drone light shows is it is an entertainment job that uses the technology that I've learned about through the entire industry. And so we've got a lot of folks that are salespeople that are just learning about drones and figuring that stuff out. We've got folks that, we hire on brand new. We're just like, we need some hands to do ground crew work. And they're learning more and more as they progress through and bringing it up.
So Casey,
but then they need a handful of guys like us that can rebuild and fix and all that kind of stuff.
So where's it headed? I mean, will the batteries, are y'all looking for better battery technology to last longer or more lights on a drone? Or what's the biggest want, in the drone shows, or what would be,
So very similar to what we're dealing with at FPV. If you buy an off-the-shelf FPV racer, the less you spend, the simpler the parts. It's going to work, but it's only going to work so well. You may get 5 to 10 minutes out of that flight. Right. Then you've got the guys who progress on to the long range flight, which of course in America we're staying within VLOS. That's how that works. But if they're going and they're trying to get more time and more distance and that sort of thing, they're putting in better parts. So more precision motors and better pitched props and all that kind of stuff that will allow it to fly longer. And you could take a quad that may have only flown 5 minutes before and now make it fly 20 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
And you're going on from there. The problem is with drone light shows, not only the battery itself being the issue, is if you had a drone where you were putting in the most primo components to make that work, you'd have a $7,000 to $10,000 drone that now you need 2,000 of, 6,000 of, however. I mean, the world record in China just set last month was 10,197 drones in one show.
That's amazing. Wow. That is amazing.
And
really.
I can't even be mad at it. We were talking about this over dinner last night with some of the crew. I said, I can't be mad at it because it is the most beautiful thing I think I've ever seen. That many drones coming up and the way they animated it looks like dust blowing up off the ground and immediately just went up and started forming formations in the sky. And it was absolutely incredible. Here in the US, I don't know that there are that many drone light show drones available across every company in the US.
Yeah, I was going to ask. I mean, how many do Sky Elements own? I mean, how many drones roughly?
The official answer to that is a lot.
Yeah,
we're not allowed to talk specific numbers, but I mean, I will say that the show that we did in San Diego with the 2400, that was not our full fleet, and we still had retail shows to run in the background. Right. So we've got a lot going on, and it's
a big investment. I mean, I know we thinking of numbers, and I mean, I don't know what a show costs, but it's 2,400 drones. I mean, wow. And you said there's
a lot going on.
I'm still working on the village at North Palm Beach down in Florida to get one.
Absolutely.
They're still thinking about it. They are.
Love it. I say, and we've done a lot. We get a lot of work down around the Miami area, Lauderdale. We've done shows in Boca. We've got shows this week coming up. I think down in is it Coral Springs? I mean, we're never done. We never stop. There's always something on the books coming up.
Casey, is the 4th of July the busiest time, or more Christmas, or
4th of July and New Year's are our busiest times?
New Year's. Yeah, thinking about it. Sure.
Yep. And we still do a lot for Christmas as well. One year, it was kind of our it was part of our marketing budget where we did a whole bunch of shows up and down the East Coast. I just have to call this out. I absolutely love that name down there. Eat More Possum. That's fantastic.
Oh yeah,
Brent, how you doing?
Love it. But yeah, we did shows up and down the East Coast and basically filmed that and the process and how all that worked as part of our marketing. Because then we put together a video of look at all this Christmas stuff we did, and we ended it up with a 1,000 drone light show at our home headquarters in Dallas, Texas.
Right.
So do you miss Texas, or you like Florida, or you want to go back to Texas?
I grew up an Army brat.
Chris Hope is in here now. Watch what you say, Casey.
I know.
The very diplomatic answer is I grew up an Army brat and I've been around the world about 4 times. So honestly, nowhere is home. I've got a place I keep my stuff, and half the time I'm not even here. So who knows, whether or not that's
you
actually
travel
home
a
or
lot.
not.
Yeah.
I have a very expensive storage unit, is what I have.
Yeah. Hey guys, I want to tell you that for some reason the StreamYard giveaway tool is not working. But let's give away this mouse pad and SD card. And Ray and Casey, if you look in a private chat, I put a number just so you can see it. And
got it.
Let's go. Let's go from 1 to 50, and we'll give this. This is one prize right now. We'll do it. So 1 to 50, and y'all help me watch for it, and we'll give it away. And we'll do it again for the sticker pack. I don't know what.
Somebody got it. Somebody got it.
I'm gonna let it go. But yeah, it's who was it?
Yeah, look at that. I don't think anybody got it before.
No, it's Brian.
Yeah, Brian. Waypoint, New England. Congratulations,
Brian. Yeah, Brian. You got the mouse pad and the that, and let me put another number for the for this sticker pack. Got a nice sticker pack here.
Oh, that's a good number.
Captain Joe, he gets baseball cards made, Ray.
Oh, look at this. I like it, Captain Joe.
So
I'll include. I got one of them included in the sticker pack. So
somebody's real close.
I say there's some close.
Somebody got it. Somebody got it.
Right here.
Go.
Yep, I think so. I think somebody got it.
All right, guys, hit me up on Facebook Messenger, and
you see what Michael flies on? I think he got it first.
Oh, he did? Let's see. Let me go back here. I'll always go back and check this, of course.
Number 22.
I will go back and check it. All right, let me get that. Is Casey? No. Well, Casey, I'll tell you what, we got a few videos to show. If you're welcome to stick around, or if you, I don't know if you got to go, but we'll show some videos.
No, you guys caught me on a rare night off.
So I appreciate it. Jump in and chat. I mean, I appreciate it. I know we had a lot of questions, and I tell you what, it's fun to learn about these shows, and I think
shows are incredible. They are. And
Sky
Elements is the best, right?
Oh, I appreciate that. Yes, sir. We like to think so. So for anybody who is interested in seeing a show, our website is skyelementsdrones.com. And we have a link on there that says see a drone show. So we do a lot, like I said, a lot of corporate events, things like that. And unfortunately, we can't invite everybody out to those. But if we have a public show, we'll post it on that link. And you are more than welcome to come out. And if you see a tall, loud guy with a beard, come by and say hi and shake your hand, and we'll chat and take a picture.
Yeah, let's see. I think I got it right here. Just talks about it. This is, of course, y'all page.
There we go. Yep. And then See a Drone Show is there, right there. Yep.
So, check really that out.
Incredible.
Check that out. And yeah, all right, let's get Ray, your friend, your buddy sent this in. I got to show this.
I know, flying up there with the clouds, Rob.
Yeah, Mr. Rob Kamada.
Yeah. Incredible, Rob. Really, really nice.
Rob don't mess around.
Although I will say I'm also a FAST team member with the FAA, so I'm watching this tongue in cheek. I'm biting my tongue a lot.
Yeah, there you go.
Just saying.
Hey, like you said, the long range drones, just visual observer. They got visual observers, So hey,
absolutely.
Let's see here. This is Mr. John Olson. John put a little Cajun music to this.
Nice.
I tell you what, I gotta apologize to John because last night I was on Build a Drone Reviewer stream and somehow I think I not blocked, but I timed John out. I don't know how I did it. I was on my iPad. So somebody said that I did. I didn't know I did. So John, I'm sorry about that. Didn't mean to do it if I did do it, but somehow it said that Johnny Drone Flyer timed somebody out. So,
Oh goodness.
Ray, do you know where this is at, Ray?
Yeah. That's down in Patchogue. That's the Sands Pit Marina with the Patchogue Lighthouse. Very nice, John.
Yeah, John's a big supporter of the
He
channel.
flies he
Loves
flies the air to us. I know that.
Nice.
Casey. Are you into camera drones at all, or do you do any? Or?
I am. So for me, currently in the arsenal, I have the Mavic 2 Pro, the first one that had the Hasselblad camera on it. And for me, the biggest thing was a lot of the companies that I've worked for, all the drones with cameras that I needed were actually supplied by the company. So flying like the M210, the M300, some of the older DJI stuff like the S1000, S900, some of the Alta out of Washington State. So like the Alta 8, the Alta X, a lot of those big camera drones that we flew with a lot of sensors for different systems and processes. I think my most expensive drone so far was $400,000. And it was a custom drone that we were flying via SATCOM out over the Gulf of Mexico, doing a lot of work with the FAA test center. So, but I love getting out there. It just turns out that a small Cinewoop, as we call them, is a lot easier for me to drag around the country most of the time.
Yeah.
I used to take my Mavic out with me back in the day, and it was great. But as I was able to put HD footage on tiny little things, I threw it out there. I haven't really posted a whole lot to YouTube lately. I find it's easier to do quick little clips on Instagram. But there's a lot of footage out there, and I love seeing these shots of guys getting some
nice
incredible
footage. Ron Johnson,
100%. Beautiful.
Hey, Jeremy had a question.
Jeremy has a question. Yeah.
Why
do you guys ask for volunteers all the time?
So a lot of the companies have seen that, rather than pushing an entire crew out all over the place, a lot of the work that we need essentially or on the ground is stuff that we can train local folks to do. And especially if it's somewhere where we're going to be there often, it's nice to have a crew that's local. Right. And have those contacts to where if we've got a new spot we're going to go fly in, we say, hey, we know you, we're comfortable with you. Can you go check out this spot for us? Is this going to work for us? Do you have people that are interested that want to work? And then we can send a smaller core crew from home and then train everybody up to get out there. So it also helps get people involved, especially when there's folks locally that are working. We find that a lot of the locals are more excited about it too.
This is Mr. John Flynn right here. Some nice fall colors.
Very nice, John.
I was hoping to see some leaves changing when I was up in Cincinnati, and it hadn't quite got there yet.
Yeah, this is I think John put this up the other day. It's really, really nice.
Gorgeous. Look at those reds.
I know. Hey, I'm colorblind and I can see it. Yeah, John loves to fly. I tell you what, he put some nice videos up.
Philip Koshat says, "One in Alabama, need a volunteer, count them in."
All right, check out Mr. John Flynn's video there. And let's see, got a couple more here. This is Casey, I don't know if you saw the new smart return to home by the Air 3S, the new drone.
I've heard about it. Haven't seen it in person yet.
I was very impressed with this, Johnny. Really?
Yeah, I did it yesterday in my garage. And Jerry did a much better job than I just had my phone and I took off from. You see, he takes off from inside his garage. All right. So, and of course, the drone is facing that way. What's interesting, and you'll see it when he comes back. But, he's in Canada. Jerry's in Canada. But he does this. I got some nice colors up there.
Yeah.
So this is the return to home. Now it will give you a warning when because it's going to come back and land in the garage. But it's pretty neat. Let's see here. This is the new Air 3S. Oh, we got a bird. Likes the Air 3S there, I saw.
It really seems like a great drone, no doubt about it.
Well, I mean, it's like anything else. I mean, everybody always says every time a drone comes out, it's small increments, but it's got a lot of features. I mean, the 1-inch sensor and buy the best. All I say is buy the best drone for you, what you do. I never bought the Mavic 3 because what I do, I don't need it. But, so get the best for you.
And it's the same. I mean, that's why I still have a Mavic 2. And, it always kills me watching all these guys in the groups go, oh, no, the Air 3S is coming out. My Air 3 is obsolete and garbage now.
No, it's not.
Does it still do what you bought it for? Does it still take pictures?
Yeah. You see right there, it gave them a warning and you had to hit the button. Yep. But this thing comes back in the garage. And what's interesting, it will turn around. And it did it,
This is really incredible. You're thinking about it. Really. I mean, the drone shows are incredible.
It turns around before it lands and lands right back inside the garage.
But this return to home is pretty cool.
The tech itself is incredible. I will say though, I mean, I'm always most impressed when I can see somebody that can do that without just pushing a button. But there's a lot of that good stuff going on. And I love that the technology is out there because it does make it a lot easier for people to get into this.
Look, you picked up the show. We only require what 20% commission, Ray, or 15%? I don't know.
I know.
Saw that.
And Casey, Rob has a disclaimer here. So
I do see that. I'm good with that.
He is one of the
I know there's ways. I know there's ways. Just point out.
No, hey, all right. Well, we try to keep it to an hour. Casey, it was a privilege to meet you and have you on, and thanks so much. And we'll give you a chance to say your goodbyes.
All right. Well, thanks so much, guys. Really enjoy it, and anytime. And if anybody has any questions, happy to reach out. Like I said, I am on with the FAST team. I have been flying for a long time. I have my fingers in a little bit of everything, and if I don't know the answer to something, I probably know somebody who does. So feel free to reach out through any social media or even on Gmail. Eat, sleep, drone, repeat.
Gotcha. Well, thanks so much for being on.
Great guest, Casey.
Ray, Ray, who you got tomorrow night? Ray,
check it out. Al Sercione from the South Florida Drone Flyers will be my guest. So,
Casey, what about the South Florida Drone Meetup? Is it possible you may try and come, or
I'm hoping.
April 4th.
It's based on my schedule. It's based on my schedule. I mean, I'm half the time I've gotten, especially with some of the management stuff I do. If I have a pilot that gets sick or has a conflict, I got to fill in for their show. Right. So I may not know my schedule from today through Monday, but if I've got some time available, I'm happy to be down there.
Well, thanks so much. And then Bill Thomas, Coast to Coast Drones tonight in about 30 minutes. And what else? 2 weeks from tonight, we'll do nothing but viewer videos. So get those sent in to me, or we got a couple weeks. We'd love to show you videos. And Casey, thanks again. Ray, I'll talk to you, and everybody have a great night.
Have a good night.